Going to walk you through a failure analysis on a John Deere 9000 series rear axle. Specifically, this is 110 millimeter. It would fit your late 90-20s, 90-30s, or your 9R. Well, the original part request from the customer was he just needed the differential housing only. Nothing else. Then they decided that, oh, well, now we found a crack in our ring gear. So now we need just a ring gear and a differential housing. Now I get that everybody's trying to save money and watch their repairs. So no disrespect to what the request was, but what we know is that if you have a bad ring gear, especially if you have a bad teeth, then you're gonna have bad planetary gears and you're gonna have a bad pinion shaft. So just walking through, because we do the failure analysis and we know what actually happens when they fail, we can give those suggestions, which in this case doesn't mean he had to buy an axle, but he needed more than he asked for. So my suggestion was that he dig a little deeper to make sure before we just sold him these two individual parts. That was all he needed. So here's the other side of the differential that broke off. And this is how he brought it back. So we haven't pulled it apart yet to look at the planetary gears, but I'm going to say that probably discovered there was more issues. Typically, if you crack your ring gear at your dial pin, there was a lockup, and so there's a trickle effect to that, or a compounding effect to that. So we're going to need to check the axle housing to make sure it's not cracked. We're going to have to check the planetary gears, make sure there's no chips or issues with it. Check the main housing to make sure there's no cracks in it. Probably we're going to find that, or the customer wouldn't have bought a complete axle, in the end. So just another issue you always want to check out is your brake pads. And it may be hard to see, but I can see that there's metal in those pads. And what will happen is that, one, it never comes out of those, and then it's going to get into your metal pads. You can see that material there. This one here where it's already scarred. So there's just a lot more to think about when you have a failure, to make sure that you do your repair as least as expensive as possible, but also as thorough as possible. Because in this case here, this side here would also need to have new bearings in it because of the metal.